Hey, good morning, everybody. I am Lori Vargo, as Veronica told you. My presentation today is Collaborative Course Development with Basecamp. Um, can everybody hear me okay? If you can't, write something in the text box. Geo is thinking, oh, I can hear you very well. Okay, then I'm going to assume that everybody else can too. So, good morning. I am, this is a very informal presentation today. Um, I will like to answer any questions that you have. It's informal because I'm explaining to you what my process is. I'm going to go through a couple of slides online, then I'm going to go online to the project management software that I use, and then I'm going to come back for a conclusion. So today's presentation is going to be in three parts. Part number one is going to be setting the stage, and I'm going to explain my experience, my background, the background of the project, and the problems that I have encountered. Part two will be about the development process. I'm going to talk about my personal collaboration style and the tools that I have developed for my work. And then finally, I'm going to wrap the presentation up. I'm going to reiterate the solution that I found, talk about some of my results, and ask you if you have any questions, final questions, because again, you can ask me whatever you want during the presentation. Um, I am, as Veronica said, at the University of South Carolina, Beaufort. Of my participants, is anybody working within this system? If you are, could you send a little note into the chat box? Geo is typing, but I know she is not in the USC. Thank you. She's not in the USC system. So I'm going to give you a little background information about what it's like in South Carolina. Um, so we have USC Columbia, which is our main campus. And right there. Then we have three senior campuses. I'm at USC Beaufort. Veronica is at USC Aiken. And then the third person who works with us is USC Upstate. That's David McCurry. So the three of us are in similar jobs and independent institutions, but we're trying to pull together and do some of the collaboration amongst ourselves. Um, we have smaller regional campuses, which are 2-year programs. Now, here's the beauty of this. Has anybody, here's another question, and you can write in the chat box. Does anybody know what Palmetto College is, or have you heard of it? If you've heard of it, that's awesome. But I doubt that any, oh, yeah, okay, great. Thanks, Winona. Um, Palmetto College is really not a college. It is really a vehicle for sharing expertise, resources, and expenses across the state of South Carolina to create. Oh, hey, great. Hi, Winona. Do you know David? Oh, she's typing. David is a new guy too. He's the director of distance education. Oh, he came after I left. Sorry you missed him. He was a great guy. He is a great guy. So we are all working within the Palmetto College system, and what we do at USCB is we have a 2-year degree completion program in human services. Aiken has a 2-year degree completion program in business administration, Veronica. I think that's what it is. And David has a 2-year degree completion program at his at Upstate. What is important to all of us is that even though we are working within this Palmetto College system, we all want to um, retain our individual identities and our brand. So we really have the best of all worlds because Palmetto College is helping for the development of our courses. We receive the revenue and we receive the students. So really what we're creating in South Carolina is unique and successful, and it is working for us. So that is the program that I'm going to be talking about today. But where I'm at is this beautiful place in Bluffton, South Carolina. The University of South Carolina, Beaufort, has 2 campuses. We have one at the Hilton Head Gateway, and that's where my office is. And then we have another over in historic Beaufort, and that's where we have all of our art programs. The Human Services program is on this campus. We have, just so you know that we're not too podunk, we have students from 32 states and 4 countries. And this fall, to let you know how our program, where we're starting at, and hopefully where we will go, this fall we had 48 online courses at USCB in total. And then in our Palmetto College program, we had 20 online courses run. And remember, that's just for one program. A little bit about me. Oh, it is a gorgeous campus, isn't it? A little bit about me. I have my grounding in higher education and K-12 education. I joined USCB in July of 2015. Prior to that, I was at SCAD over in Savannah, where I was an instructional designer. And before I moved to South Carolina, I was with the University of Akron running a statewide e-learning program for the Ohio Department of Education. So, and then prior to the University of Akron, I did about 10 years in K-12 education. I was a technology coordinator, and prior to that, I got my start as a computer science teacher on Apple IIe's. So, yeah, that might tell you a little bit more about my age than I was willing to share, but I've been around the block and I've seen and worked with a lot of different kinds of people, and that has helped prepare me for my current role that I'm doing now. Okay, so as I said, we had human services. We've already created that program, but we have 2 new degree completion programs that we are starting this year, and that is health promotions. That's the first one. We will start offering online courses for health promotion in the fall of 2016. To let you know how much work we have to do, we have to create 50 hours of their major requirements. At the same time, we're also bringing on hospitality management. That's a really big program for our area because many of the students who wish to join the hospitality management world, Hilton Head is the perfect location. We've got resorts and hotels and restaurants and lots of tourists. So while students study in this area, they can also have a lot of experience. I think this is going to do really well for our online program because I think the name of Hilton Head, Bluffton, and Beaufort will attract students, and they kind of get the best of both worlds. Hospitality management has about 57 hours of courses that need to be created. So this fall, our goal is to create 6 courses for health promotions and 5 courses for hospitality management. In the Palmetto College format, all of our courses are created as modules. There could be one module for every week. So when I tell you the number of modules we need to create this semester, you'll be surprised. We have to create 152 modules within a 10-week period. Clearly an impossible task. Oh, and by the way, I am a department of 1. So all of the people that I work with, I'm going to supervise and I'm going to help them within the process. I'm now going to talk about a little bit about the process. Does anybody have any questions about the background, my background, where I'm working, what we're trying to do? If so, you can write it in the chat box. And when you do, Veronica will then add it over to the other cell for you. So the big question is, dun, 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 can we accomplish this task? And my premise is, yes, we can accomplish it, but we have to do it collaboratively. What these are reasons why you would want to collaborate. These are things you already know, but quickly, the best project, the best quality project needs more than one person doing it. So even if I did have faculty who were well, if they were good developers, you're still not going to get the best product if you don't have more than one person working on it. Many of the people, point number 2, many of the people I am working with, I need to rethink the way they're teaching. Teaching face-to-face is a very different experience than teaching online and vice versa. The people I work with might not have that experience. So another reason to collaborate is to help them rethink the pedagogy. Innovative ideas don't happen in isolation either. And working side by side with faculty, it's my role to help them integrate innovative technology into their courses and help them think of unique and different ways of doing things. One really simple example of this is I was working with a nursing professor, and for the first time, she was teaching a course, Professional Leadership and Management in the Nursing Profession. There were 2 different kinds of students in her course. There were regular nursing students, but then she also had a group of nursing RN to BSN students. And so not only that, she had 37 people enrolled in the class. Not a best practice for the number of students, but this is the lot she was handed. So I've been working with her all semester to help her think, and prior to the semester when she was building the course, to think of ways in which to handle this course load so that her time was spent well and that the students had an opportunity to interact with each other, because one of the reasons online courses are so rich is because of the interaction with all your different peers. So Susan and I developed a strategy for putting people in groups, having group and pair work, but then sharing the work with their peers in a whole group discussion form. It's nothing totally wacky or wild, But what it did was expose Susan to a technique of online, how to mix students in and how to use those tools in Blackboard. And it was something that she needed a lot of support with, so she wasn't going to be able to come up with that on her own. So that's why we collaborate. My development process, and we all have different things, but this is what I use. There are 4 steps. There's the kickoff meeting, there's the course development meeting, there is collaborative development, and then step 4 is to run and to revise. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the development process now, and then I'm going to go online and show you the tool that I'm using to help save my crazy life. So the first meeting I do is a kickoff meeting. For example, when I started working with hospitality management, we pulled together all of the faculty developers who were going to be developing courses in this semester. And I have agendas for all of my meetings. So if you would like any of my resources, I would be delighted to share. Just let me know. My email is in this presentation. Just drop me a line. So the first thing I do is I meet with all of my developers. I go into this explanation again about what Palmetto College is because it's so ethereal. Nobody really understands it. I talk about our roles and responsibilities, and I tell them that it's their job to be the content expert and to bring resources to our meeting because I know their content far better than I do. But my role and responsibility is to help them put it in a format in which is good for students and to bring that technology innovation. I also introduce, excuse me, the Quality Matters rubric. This is our gold standard that we are using to look at our courses through this lens. I talk a lot about quality matters through this whole process, and they get handouts of the rubric. Last week, Quality Matters had their 7th annual conference. There were several free webinars. I sent them links to the webinars, and whatever I can, I'm going to throw their way, especially in terms of Quality Matters. Then, so what we're doing, who we are. Then I'm going to talk about the process, what they're going to be doing, how it's my hope to generate their courses in one semester. Then I'm going to introduce the tools that we're using. Having a tool that everybody uses in a similar manner is very important to my process. So I'm not looking at a lot of different things. It just saves time when you do that. And then the end of the meeting was next steps. And the next step would be to schedule a course development meeting with all of my faculty developers. At this meeting, we do the analysis. That's really important when you're designing a course. Thankfully, the majority of my faculty developers have taught this course before. If they hadn't taught the course before, I think I would have found another professor who had taught that course to bring them into our planning process so that they could give their expertise about what the students are like, what resources are available, what has been successful on the ground that might work in the online environment, what are the essential pieces of the course. So we go through this analysis, and it's mostly for me. Thankfully, the people who work here are very skilled and very knowledgeable, and they know what they're doing. So at this point, this information is valuable for me to understand. Then we talk about course design and we begin to use the first tool that I'll show you on Basecamp. It's the course development plan. All it is a chart in Word that has key parts for every module according to the Quality Matters rubric that they have to fill in. Before we begin any development, they have to have their course development plan done. Otherwise, things could run on forever. One tip is once something has been marked final, we don't want to change it. And I'll talk about that later, what happens when you have to go back. So at this meeting, we start the course development plan, but we also talk about their development timeline. I have another tool that I use is a timeline, and it chunks the work that they have to do. So they've got periodic hit points that they have to achieve. So the first thing they have to do is all of this pre-course development work. They have to have a completed development plan, and we have to have a timeline in place before they start to, yes, I will, Christy. I'll share, yeah, that's a great tool. I would be delighted to share that. They have to have the timeline available. Even if we don't have all of the minute details about my course builder getting their job done, at least they know when they have to turn in all of their documents. So when this is done, we move on to phase one, which is create the syllabus, do their instructor video. We're really pushing video because we have the facilities here available, and nothing gets your attention like seeing your professor talk about themselves, and they're always really good about talking about themselves. And then also in phase one is the completion of module 1 and 2. The reason why there are only 2 modules in phase 1 is I go over those with a very heavy hand, as you'll see when we get on to Basecamp. I put in a lot of track changes, a lot of comments to help them think about their pedagogy, to think about what they want students to do, and how those all build up to the objectives for the module. I have found that after they have 2 really good modules done, the rest of the process is going to flow a lot easier because now they understand by doing what the Quality Matters rubric is. Any questions? Okay, I'm going to move on to course part 3 of my development process, which is the collaborative development. And to do this, to collaboratively develop a course, I use a tool called Basecamp. So now I'm going to stop sharing slides and go live to Basecamp, and I'm going to show you what my tool looks like. Geo is asking about the Quality Matters rubric, and do I go into the points values? No, I don't. They're not there yet, either in their pedagogy or in their development or understanding of the rubric. I think when we are done with the process, I'll talk about the point values with them as I evaluate their course, and we talk about, you know, what we might want to change after the first run. Then I think I'll go into that. But I'm not going to do that yet. When you assign points to something, it kind of feels punitive. And my whole approach is rah rah. It's a good thing. And if it's not good, we're going to fix it so it's going to be good. Okay. I am now going to share my main display. Okay. Here's Basecamp. And I know Geo is well aware of this because we worked together at SCAD, and this is what we used. And Geo, when I was looking for a way to work with people, especially with 10 people every semester, this was the best thing I could find. So we did get to experience something good. And we did have, this is a web-based, subscription-based project manager. When you Google for other project management softwares, you'll find reviews for and against this. You'll see other tools, but because I knew this and I could get it going pretty quickly, this was and the price is pretty good too. This was definitely the thing I wanted to use. Okay, so here is my view of Basecamp, and here are all the projects that I'm working on. When I think of things, I'll start a project. For example, I created a Basecamp development demo that I use sometimes. Um, I am creating in pieces a teaching online course that I'm not very far with yet, but when I have an idea, I throw it into there. This is a project for the template for Palmetto College, but what has been really good for me are the templates because I'll continue using these templates for the next 2 years. So I created two templates in the two formats in which we create things. One is a 16 module course, and the other is an 8 module course. So I'm going to go into the 16. There are 4 different pieces of Basecamp that I use. The first one is discussions. I would like to play this quick video about what discussions are and kind of stop it midway. It does a better job at explaining it than I do. Let's see if this works.
Here you can post new messages that everyone else on the project can see and respond to. You may want to explain the goals of the project, give feedback on some designs, or share updates with your clients. Give your message a subject and start writing. You can use the formatting bar to style the text however you like. You can attach any files you want to a message by dragging them from your desktop and dropping them in the message area, or clicking Select Files from your computer. If your team is using Google Docs, you'll also be able to link up your files from there. If you have clients on the project, you'll have the option to hide this message from them. This is great for times that you need to post a message only to your internal team. You can also choose who should get an email notification that the message has been posted. By default, everyone on the project will be notified, but if you want to target only a specific group or company, click Let me choose who should get an email and select just those people. People who get notified can reply directly to that email, and their response will automatically be posted back in Basecamp.
This is one of the best things about Basecamp. So it's this whole email function. It's a great way to communicate with the people I am developing with. So in discussions, I have created 16 different discussion threads plus the syllabus thread and the course development plan and a Q&A for the instructor. Then I tell them, this works kind of like as a filing cabinet for all of their materials. So when they're done with their syllabus, they select it or they drag it into here and they'll send me a little note about, here's my syllabus. Will you take a look? I think it's good, but I need some feedback. And I'll show you how this looks when I show you a live Basecamp. So this is where they put all of their documents, images, links, anything they want to include in Module 1 goes here. So stop and think for a minute about how you get material from the people you develop with. go ahead and put stuff in the chat if you have um, a way that you communicate with your faculty developers, or if you are a faculty developer, how you communicate with your instructional designer or the person that's helping you. You might just sling files across through email. You might have a shared file that you have on your server at school. Veronica is email. Hey, Veronica, have you ever had something not go through because what they are sending you is so massive it crashes your email? This is the tool that is going to help you alleviate that problem. Google Docs is a great, I love Google Docs. And if I could figure out a way to set it up like this, then I might move everything from Basecamp, Cedric, to Google Docs. But right now, the tools in Basecamp are just way too easy for me. Oh, move it for massive files, Geo. That's good too. There are lots of free web-based things to move those files back and forth. But then, you know, then where do you store that? It's my hope that by using Basecamp, when it comes time to build the course in Blackboard, we will have everything filed exactly where it should be. Yeah, those files are out of control and may be public to some extent. You're right, Gio, about Google Docs. Nothing that we do is going to save the world or is so valuable that I am concerned about people getting access to. But if that is one of your issues at a campus, that is definitely a concern. And Veronica responds that videos go through the shared folder, but it's not very efficient. Veronica was exploring media servers. We are using Vimeo for our video storage. So all we have to, oh, thank you, Media Site by Sonic Foundry. What we are doing is when one of my developers creates a video, we post it on Vimeo, which is our subscription. And then in Basecamp, all they have to do is put the link. So that's how we handle that. Okay, so this is discussions. I'm going to go back to my template. Then I've created for my developers a to-do list. And this is everything that is on the timeline that I am going to be sharing with you. And then after I work with somebody, I assign tasks to them. So when the course development plan is finalized, either the developer or I get to check the to-do list and it disappears. It's a little reward. It feels really good when you see your pre-course development activities go down to nothing. It's a way to keep people engaged in the process and to provide some, I can't think of a better word than rewards for accomplishing tasks. So my 3 phases, then at the end, these are the final activities. Okay, the next area of Basecamp is files. And I use files in 2 ways. One is I used everything I thought developers needed help with, I put here. So there's the QM rubric. Here's a set of fantastic rubrics by the AACU. All of the tools I've created. There's their timeline document. Here's a blank course development plan. Here's a handout about discussion and writing good discussion prompts. I have a collection of sample discussion boards or discussion prompts. And then here's a participation rubric. They also use files. When you add something up to the discussion thread, it automatically gets added down here. And the funny thing is, I will go and visit my projects, and when they do upload a file, I get a note in my email, and it takes them a while before they realize that they need to file their documents up in discussion. But that's a piece of training that we are working on through the process. Then the last thing we have is text documents. I put my content information down here. If there was something that I wanted my developers to see instead of having to download and open, I would put it there. But right now, it's just, this is how you're going to get a hold of me. So this is a template that I can copy when I start a new course with somebody. And to create all of those projects with my faculty developers for this semester, this is how I created it. Any questions about the template? Oh, okay. I did that one. How do you show? Good. How do you show? Do you have to show the faculty how to use it before you start the course development project? Yes. And I'm assuming that you mean Basecamp. When we sit down for our course development meeting, which is one-on-one with my developer, I show them their Basecamp. I show them where the documents are. We practice uploading something, but they still need more help with it. But it's going pretty good. You know what? I have not. The question number 3, have you experienced high resistance from faculty? No, not yet. And I'm for 2 reasons. One, they're getting paid for it to develop the course because Palmetto College has that built in. And 2, I'm just a really pleasant person to work with. I hope you're all laughing because that was my joke. I do try to make the experience as pleasant as I can for developers, and I try not to say no. I ask a lot of questions. So when I review documents with maybe faculty that might be resistant, they're kind of like on the edge of, I have to go through a lot, Lori. I want to use my syllabus like this. I'll start asking questions. Well, has anybody had problems with your syllabus in the past? Does anybody have a problem with meeting your due dates? And then through that talking didactic process, we work out things that way. So I'm a yes person. I guess that's the best answer. So in Basecamp, I wanted to show you a project, and we're going to go into this bioethics one. So look at Murray. Here are the last project updates. I commented on Module 3 and Module 4, and look, on November 6th, Murray uploaded Module 3, the final version. Awesome. See, I'm showing you his because he's using Basecamp properly. So Murray has 16 modules to create, but you can see we're kind of at number 4 now. I'm going to go into, oh, look, there's another motivational message from me. Congrats, another one is done. When I looked at the online courses here on campus, especially Palmetto College, what was missing for me the most were images. We do have a lot of video, but I was just reading a lot, and I was reading blocks of text. And so we're working on incorporating more images. A real easy one is if there's a speaker, we're including a picture of the speaker. So that is what Basecamp looks like. Oh, we haven't, oh, he signed off. He submitted. Yeah, he still has stuff to do there. So that's what it looks like when you check something off. Oh, and with Murray, I'm using Adobe Connect, so I put the Adobe Connect information there. Anything I can do to make it easier for them, that's what I'm going to do. So that is Basecamp. I recommend you take a look at it. They will give you, I think, 2 or 3 free projects for a while. So if you want to explore the beauty of Basecamp, you can do that at no cost to you. I am not working for Basecamp, nor are they paying me for this promotional information, but I really do like the project. So in conclusion, from September to November, we've created 17 modules. That's 11% of our total goal for this semester. We are never going to make it, but if we don't have a goal, then this could last forever. I think we'll finish all of our modules by the end of January, which ain't too bad. Factors facilitating collaboration or things that are going well for me. Rapport building. I'm building relationships with faculty members. As somebody new, starting July 15th, they didn't know me from Adam. So I've had to spend a lot of time talking to people, sharing information, building relationships. That is key. I've also done a lot of talking so that we could have a shared vision, so that we understand each other. If somebody believes in instruction this way and I believe in it this way, we've got to come together. And if they have a really good reason for wanting to do it this way, awesome. It's your course. You got to teach it. Building a sense of team. I think I start every email to a group of people with, hi team, hi team. We are doing this together. Factors that hinder collaboration. With all of my processes and tools and platforms, especially when on a timeline, it's hard. They're overwhelmed. Without doubt, they are overwhelmed. But I think the more experience they have in the platform with the tools, it's going to, that sense of being overwhelmed will diminish. I've had to deal with people wanting to deviate from the plan. And that's going to have to be okay. There was somebody who didn't want to create their course on the documents, on my template. They wanted to just build it in Blackboard. And, awesome. That's fine. If that's going to help your process, go for it. But that's going to be harder for me to provide feedback for that person because it's not built in. And of course, this whole process is labor intensive. We're going back and forth on documents. I believe we're creating really good stuff, but it's a lot of work. I know I have very little time. Are there any